Good evening. This is a public meeting of the Lowell Zoning Board of Appeals for July 24th, 2017. And before we get started, everyone could check your electronic device, make sure it's turned off or turned down, please. And secondly, if anyone plans on speaking on behalf of a petition, either for or against, please come to the lectern and then could you sign in with your name and address before addressing the board? Our first matter before us is under continuances, ZB 2017-26, petitions of variance. Applicant is WFI Investments, LLC. Property located at 585, 591, 605, 609.1, 619, 629 Market Street. 616-628, 636, 646, 650, 666 Merrimack Street, and 23 Cabot Street. Petition, the petitioner is seeking variance approval at 585, 591, 605, 609.1, 619, 629 Market Street, and 616, 628, 636, 646, 650, 666 Merrimack Street, and 23 Cabot Street. The applicant proposes to construct a 163-unit privately developed and operated dormitory. The proposed project is located in the urban mixed-use zoning district. The project requires approval from the Zoning Board of Appeals under Section 6.14, 6.154, 6.166, 6.1110, 6.24, and any other relief required of the Lowell zoning ordinance. Good evening, Mr. Theodore. How are you, sir?
Good, Mr. Bailey. As you know, there is a letter before you that was filed through DPD to you requesting, indicating that the applicant intends to withdraw this petition. Sure. And we ask that you act on it to withdraw the petition without prejudice. Yep,
and we did receive the letter from Mr. Theodoro dated July 19th. So since you've mentioned it, I don't think we need to read it into the record, if that's okay with you. So could I have a motion to withdraw this petition, please?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, the matter before us, ZB-2017-26, petition of variance. The applicant, WFI Investment, LLC, property located at 585, 591, 605, 609.1, 619, 629 Market Street, 616, 628, 636, 646, 650, 666 Merrimack Street, and 23 Cabot Street. The applicant proposes to construct a 163-unit privately developed and operated dormitory. The proposed project is located in the urban mixed-use zoning district. The project requires approval from the Zoning Board of Appeals under Section 6.1.4, 6.1.5.4, 6.1.6.6, 6.1.10, 6.2.4, and any other relief required of the Lowell zoning ordinance.
Could I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Member Bailey?
Approve the withdrawal.
Member Perrin?
Approve the withdrawal.
Member Peck?
Approve withdrawal.
Member Palia?
Approve the withdrawal.
Member Callahan?
Approve withdrawal.
Member
Mr.
McCarthy?
Theodore.
Sorry.
Approve withdrawal.
Thank you. Okay, next business is under new business, and I'm going to take the agenda slightly out of order. If I could have ZB 2017-31, petitions of special permit. The applicant is Megan Chandler, property located at 564 Dutton Street. Petition, the applicant is seeking special permit approval at 564 Dutton Street. The applicant proposes to open a massage establishment with appropriate parking. The proposed project is located in the light industrial zoning district and requires special permit approval from the zoning board under Article 12, Table of Uses of the Lowell zoning ordinance. Good evening, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. So could you tell the board exactly what your plans are, please?
So I am planning, right now I'm currently located in Tewksbury. I've been there for 2 years now. I've been practicing for 3 years. I was licensed with the state in 2009. I'm planning on moving to Lowell at Dutton Street on the 3rd floor, which is a shared floor right now. And I'm hoping to be able to open up this fall, September 1st. And I will be practicing Thai massage. Specifically right now related to just regular massage and also with a focus on prenatal and postpartum body work.
Okay. All right. Well, I think what I'll do is I'm going to open it up to the public first, and then I'll move it to the board if there are any questions.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Anyone here like to speak in favor of this petition? In favor? In favor? Hearing none, that portion of public hearing is closed. Anyone like to speak in opposition? 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 Hearing none, that portion of public hearing is closed. I'd like to open up the board. Sean?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just got a couple questions. First, what are your typical hours of operation for the business?
So I'm actually in school, so it's really dependent upon that. But I usually don't see anybody before 10 o'clock in the morning, and I like to close up by 8 o'clock at night, but it's by appointment only, so in between those hours.
Okay. Do you have any employees, or is it just yourself that's
Just
working?
myself, yeah.
All right. I'm sure as the business grows, would you intend to probably have
So
more?
actually, under the state, there's really 2 different directions you can choose to go. One of them is a sole practitioner, which is a private independent establishment, which is what I'm hoping to be able to open.
Okay. I see no problems with the petition. It's good to have businesses like yourself to come in and start enjoying the city and build a clientele here. And I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sean. Mike?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have any questions or concerns. You're meeting the state requirements, and all we're really doing is giving you a place to operate. So I sort of liken it to us stealing Kronos from Chelmsford, so on a slightly smaller scale. So we just stole you from Tewksbury.
Yes.
Good luck.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Van?
I have no comments, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Gary?
I have no comments, except I wish you the best of luck
Thank
bringing
you.
your business to the city of Lowell and
I'm excited.
enjoy the downtown area.
Thank you, Gary. Dennis?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I just have a couple of questions. So you're moving from Tewksbury to Lowell, and you've been in Tewksbury for 2 or 3 years?
2 years.
2 years.
When I first began, I was actually in Lowell, but located at a gym.
Mhm.
And then I kind of wanted to branch out a little bit bigger, have a little bit more room, so I went to Tewksbury. And now I really want to be back in Lowell.
And the attraction to Lowell is that you think that you'll have a better connection with the yoga studio downtown?
Not necessarily. A lot of my clients are from Lowell,
Okay.
and I think Lowell is really inviting a lot younger crowds with all the development. I just think it's a better fit for me, especially doing Eastern medicine. I think culturally it just works out a lot better in Lowell.
And how did you pick the location? Was it rent or just what exactly attracted you to that downtown location versus other locations?
So a friend who already has a business downtown recommended that spot for me.
Okay.
So I got in touch with the landlord. It's a beautiful building. It's a historic building. It's a good location, parking, everything like that. Lights come on at dusk outside. It's really nice. It's really pretty. It meets the state's requirements. So as long as it's approved with the city, it's good.
It looks like it'll be a good fit. I think that it makes a lot of sense, and I'm glad you chose it.
Oh, I really like it's a perfect location, so.
One of the comments was about the access, not having handicap access.
Mm-hmm.
Does that create any?
Affect my client, like the clientele. The type of massage I do really is a little bit more involved on the client. It's a little bit more stretching compared with yoga. In the 3 years, I have never had anybody with limitations
Okay.
come to me for a massage, and the only one time that had happened, he had to wait 6 months before I could actually provide any body work to him and with doctor's orders. So would it affect me? No, but I know it's an issue.
Okay. The building doesn't have an
No.
elevator? Is
No
that right?
elevator.
Right. Okay, well, it's still a good location, I think.
It is a good location. I'm on the top floor right now with no elevator, so it's no
Okay.
difference to me.
Terrific. Well, I wish you the best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. I guess two things I'll just ask. One would be, do you have any plans to have any signage on the building about the business?
I'm sorry, do I have?
Signage?
So the building itself has 5 businesses right now, and they've all gone through Mike's Signs, and they handle all the zoning and pulling the permits in that process. But I would go through Mike's Signs, and then I think as they've done with the other businesses, they just go through the city for the proper process.
Yep. Christine, you aware of any, I don't recall us entertaining anything to do with signage on that building. Do you envision,
It's in
based
the,
on what she just explained, wouldn't
that
come?
makes a lot of sense. We work with Mike Signs a lot, and the light industrial is really flexible for
Yep.
the sign code, so unless she wants to illuminate it, then she'd have to come see you. But it actually might even be in the historic district, so that might not even touch my desk.
Okay. Well, it was a comment that was in here, so I just thought I'd ask. Oh, the other thing I'd mention is, I know in your submittals, you put together a nice letter about why you were coming here and what your plans were. So, you know, when I read that, I thought that, you know, you were very sincere, the purpose of why you're moving to Lowell. So, and if we look at the criteria for the special permit, obviously, you know, it blends in with the neighborhood character. There's an economic need here, obviously, and also you have clients, and whether the people are from Lowell or from Greater Lowell come to your business, that's only a benefit to the city. So with those comments, I don't think there was any conditions I heard from any of the board members. Okay, so could I have a motion, please?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, make a motion to approve ZB-2017-31, petition and special permit, the applicant Megan Chandler, the property located at 564 Dutton Street. The petition, the applicant seeking special permit approval at 564 Dutton Street. The applicant proposes to open a massage establishment with appropriate parking. The proposed project is located in the light industrial zoning district and requires special permit approval from the zoning board under Article 12, table of uses of the Lowell zoning ordinance.
All right, could I have a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Member, Chairman Bailey?
Approved.
Member Perrin?
Approved.
Member Peck?
Approve.
Member Palia?
Approved.
Member Callahan?
Approved.
Member McCarthy?
Approved.
Okay, Ms. Chandler, you've been approved. Wish you best of luck.
Thank you.
Yep,
Thank
you're
you,
welcome.
Good luck.
Thank you. Okay, next matter before us, still under new business. This is ZB 2017-27. The petition's a variance. The applicant is John Molinari. Property located at 28 Walker Street. The petition, the proposal is to construct 2 additional units on the subject property, bringing the total number of units to 3 with the appropriate parking. The proposed project is located in the traditional multifamily zoning district and requires special permit approval for use under section 12.1C from the planning board and variance approval from the zoning board under section 5.1 of the Lowell zoning ordinance. Good evening, Mr. Flood.
Mr. Bailey, members of the board, James Flood, 549 Rogers Street, Lowell, representing John Molinari. John is a resident of Lowell, lives at 62 Montgomery Avenue, and he's with me tonight. As the notice said, we're requesting dimensional variances to allow the construction of 2 additional new residential units at 28 Walker Street. As I think you're aware, we did appear before the planning board, was it last Wednesday, on our request for special permit, and it was approved with conditions. One condition was that we obtain fire department approval, and also that we prepare a revised plan to reconfigure the development by moving the 2 parking spaces that were in the rear portion of the building up and put them beside the 4 that were in the middle, so all 6 would be together, which they felt was safer and better for the entire development. I did submit a new plan, which I'm sure you have, that's based on those recommendations. As the notice said, it's zone TMF, and it contains 11,075 square feet. There is an existing single-family home located in the front of the lot that was built around 1920, and that is to remain. But it was located in the front, and it leaves a large rear yard. So with the large rear yard, Mr. Molinari would like to construct a new duplex building. And also, if you look at the plan, the new building is not much bigger than what's already there with the existing building. So they're both very similar in size. And it's also very similar to developments in the neighborhood. I submitted an Exhibit A, which I think you probably already have, which I kind of outlined the properties located adjacent in close proximity to our site, and I'd just like to go over those. 22 Walker Street, which is right next door. There are 3 units in 2 buildings. Total square footage is 11,125, and their land area per dwelling unit is 3,708. 29 Walker Street, which is directly across the street. There are 8 units in 2 buildings. Total square footage was 22,320, which brought it down to 2,790 land area per dwelling unit. 38 Walker Street, which is two addresses up. It's a 12-unit condominium. It's on 20,664 square feet, which brought their land area per dwelling unit down to 1,722. 44 Walker Street, which is next to the condominium, 3 units, condominium in 2 buildings, 9,704 square feet, which is 3,235 square feet per dwelling unit. 45 Walker Street, similar, 3 units, 13,206. They have 4,402 land area per dwelling unit, and 53 Walker Street, 3 units, 9,123, 3,041 square feet. Our address, we're proposing 3 units and 2 buildings. We have 11,075 square feet, so we have 3,692 square feet of land area per dwelling unit, which is close to what the zoning requires. Let's see, where am I going next? When I originally filed with this board, I felt I needed 2 variances. One would be the frontage, because it's only 50 feet. The plan was originally dated in 1871. I've given you a copy of that, which is Exhibit B, and I've never seen a plan recorded like that at the Registry of Deeds, but that was how it was done. So there was no way that we could meet that one, and the other one was land area per dwelling unit. But when we at that point, we received comments from staff on the original plan, and we made a second plan, which we brought to the planning board. I don't know whether, did you get a copy of the second plan that we submitted to the planning board? Did they get that, Chris? Okay. And as a result of that new plan that we brought to the planning board, it cut into our open space. So we were also, if that was approved, we would have required another zoning for open space. At the planning board, we agreed with staff that we had to make some changes, and that's why we submitted that new plan, but the planning board has some additional changes. They felt it would be better if we moved the 2 parking spaces up in between, moved the building down, because they didn't think it was safe for people to come out of a house where a driveway was located. And it makes a lot of sense. We agree with that. So that's why the plan before you tonight has 6 spaces together, and we now have room for more green space located in front of the house where we propose to plant a lawn. Now, it's open space, but it probably doesn't meet the definition in the zoning, because it has to be certain square. but there's plenty of land there, so I think if you looked at it, we would have that open space. So we have submitted that plan, and we hope this board likes it. As I stated in my statement of case, the memorandum I submitted to you people, our requests are based on the size and the age and the shape of this lot. Like I said, there's no way we can meet the frontage because it goes back so far. And I think if this was denied, Mr. Molinari would suffer a hardship. I don't think it's detrimental to the public good, and it doesn't nullify the intensive zoning. So I'd ask that you act positively on this request, and we're here to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay, thank you. I'll just ask just a couple initial quick questions, and then we'll open it up to the public. Number 2 here on the, you got from the city comments, Mr. Flood, on July 20th. So it says on number 2 on page 1 here, the applicant shall submit a revised site plan to DPD. So is that the one that's dated 7/12?
That's the latest one,
So
correct.
that'll meet that requirement, correct?
That's the latest one,
Okay.
correct.
And the planning board, I guess, also, you have to work out something with the fire department, correct?
Well, the original concern that the staff had, and it was valid, was that we originally had parking parallel against the house, the front house, and they felt that there might be trouble with the fire trucks going down there. So that's why we moved it, and I think the planning board wants to confirm that this is all right, they can get down there.
And my last, hopefully quick question, the existing structure that's there right now, is there any plans to do any work on that home, or is that pretty much
Let's
going to
stay
stay
the way
as
it
is?
is.
Yep.
Stay the way that it is. It's part of the neighborhood character, and we wouldn't want to change it.
Okay,
so.
and that's going to be a rental unit also?
Yeah, they all are. All three of them rent to.
Okay.
But he intends to rent to families. I mean, it's not,
Yep. Okay. All right. Anything else you want to add at this point? All right, I'll open it up to the public. Anyone here like speak in favor of this petition? In favor? In favor? Hearing none, that portion of public hearing is closed. All right, is anyone here that'd like to speak in opposition? Opposition, opposition. Hearing none, that portion of public hearing is closed. I'd like to open up to the board. Sean.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Attorney Flood, I'm just a couple quick questions. First, the existing driveway where the cars are going to be pulling in and out, what's the distance between the existing building and the lot line? I can't really, I know the frontage is 50, but it doesn't really seem to break down the distance of the existing driveway.
the existing driveway is, it's, well,
Well, it's a 12-inch curb cut.
had to
but-
be, it's a 12-foot curb cut, but
12-foot,
we
12-foot.
originally had two parking spaces there, so it has to be 8 feet off the house and at least 3 feet off the side, because that's what the zone requires.
And the proposed units in the back, so where is the front door going to be facing, the front porch, front door? Is it facing to the left or to the,
Front door is going to be coming out where the lawn is shown on the new plan.
okay,
So there's no, we're removing that driveway right out of there.
okay.
It's going to be lawn now, so they're going to be able to walk out and then walk
Out to the lawn on
front
the
and then
right-hand side?
over to the parking spaces.
Oh, okay, all right, because it seemed to me that it would look better than facing that lawn side. I thought if it was facing the other side, it doesn't really, I mean, you're facing it back, you're looking at,
That
from the
was the
street, looking at
concern
the
the
back of the
planning board
building.
had, because they didn't want them coming out into an existing driveway, so that was the suggestion, we move the parking spaces up.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in favor of the project. It seems to be fitting with the nature and character of the neighborhood. There's plenty of other condominiums and other multiple dwelling units that are existing around there. So I wish you the best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sean. Mike?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I agree with your, the narrative in your Exhibit A, driving up and down the street. This, once this development is built in the back, it will kind of match what's
It's there now.
what's there for a majority of the properties. I guess the only comment I had was, I wish the design of the new duplex, I don't know what the technical term is, maybe Dennis will say something as an architect, but it's just kind of a plain-looking, there's nothing really
It's
kind
got a
of
porch on the front.
flashy.
And that's, the planning board was happy to see it has a porch in the
Yeah,
front.
I guess I just couldn't visualize it. I'm just, commenting. It's not that it's going to keep me from voting one way or the other, but it just seems like kind of a plain building going up in the back there, but.
With the one on the front, you're really not going to see it. It's facing the side anyway, so you'd be just seeing that side of it, so.
Okay. And in regards to the open space, even though it's not part of, the petitioner's property, obviously the park along the canal is always going to be there. So there's a lot of open and green space that's, again, not part of this property, but there's plenty of space there. So that's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Van?
I have no comments, Mr. Chairman.
Gary?
I have no comments, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Dennis?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I do have a couple of comments, but I think that the improvement on the site plan, where we have basically all the vehicles on the site able to negotiate a turnaround and drive out onto Walker Street rather than have to back out, is a big improvement. And so I really like the way we basically have a parking court between the two structures. The site plan itself seems to be a little misleading with the floor plans, and so we're missing the rear deck stair element off the kitchen dining area, and we're also missing, I think, the front porch that would come into the lawn area, if I'm reading that correctly. Because the plan does seem to show a 24-foot width to the structure, but then there's about a 5-foot dimension on that front porch that would be coming into that lawn area, making the porch roughly 10 feet from the side yard. Is that correct?
Porch 10 feet from the side yard?
10-foot dimension from the side yard property line, the side yard dimension there. So
The side yard is 10 feet, right.
on the site plan that was submitted, I think it should be corrected to indicate the porch and the rear deck that intrude on the side yard setback. There are you have a 15-foot dimension on the plan, but I think that should be corrected to be accurate as what you're building
Okay, just to show that deck in the rear,
and the porch.
porch at the front.
Okay, I think that that would be helpful. So we're not going to actually take advantage of as big a lawn area there, as I think you're indicating. But you're right, it would provide a nice relief architecturally for the structure, primarily to the adjacent lot, but nonetheless, it does blend better with the existing structure at the front of the lot. So I'd like to just see that correction made as a condition.
No problem.
And I think that it makes sense with the adjacent properties. You made a good case in the Exhibit A, I think, as far as the properties nearby that take advantage of a two-structure kind of scenario on the lots, because they are such long, deep lots. And you can provide all the parking you need. So I think you did a nice job here. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. So the open space at the rear of the lot, is that going to be shared? Is that going to be grassed in?
Yeah, everything will
Okay.
be grass in the rear and
Yeah.
in front of the house.
So I don't think that's on the plan either. It just says open space. My assumption, I mean, you showed lawn in front of where the two new buildings are going to go. So since Dennis has made mention of the decks and the porches, which I know when I asked about this latest set of plans, I didn't see anything that showed that either. And then I said, well, unless it was covered in planning. So if we're going to add that elements, could we at least put lawn or something designates that open space so for that rear area?
We can do that. I thought that the fact that it said open space would lead you to believe that it was going to remain the way it is. I wanted to put the lawn in there to show you that they're trying to meet the open space requirement by putting lawn in there. But unfortunately, it's not square enough to meet the definition in the zoning, so, I mean, that was my intent, but if you want me to add lawn in the back, that's not a problem.
Yeah, what about, I mean, when I took a look at the lot, are there any existing trees that are going to be remaining? Anything at all? Is there anything to do with any landscape plan back there?
John can answer that question, Bill, please.
Sure.
There is a big tree in the back.
Can you just introduce who you are, please?
John Molinari, 28 Walker Street.
Yep.
There is a big tree in the back that we plan on keeping.
Yep.
There's one on the left that I'm not sure about. I want to talk to before they put the foundation in, whether I can keep it or not. I did have a branch fall off that recently, and now it's making me nervous, that tree that's on the lot line on the left, so I'm not sure about that one.
Yeah, well, I think with the scope of the project here, and because we have some open space, I was curious to see if there's any trees. I didn't see any comments from DPD regarding, you know, any type of landscape plan. I know it says the lawn, so I was just curious, were you planning on putting up, you know, any shrubs, any small trees?
I do plan on, you know,
Yep.
once everything is clean, my son's in the tree business, we can plant some trees and bushes to make it look good.
Yeah. So, Mr. Flood, if we can, I know we don't have that designated right now where that's going to go, but that's usually, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Christine, but there was no comments about a landscape plan, correct? I think because of the size of the, and the scope of this project, you know, that's something I'd like to see as a condition, that you can work with DPD on that as far as the landscape plan. Doesn't have to be anything fancy, I understand that, but I think if we just dress it up back there. Because I know, I think we had number 37, Walker, came before this board since I've been here, and it's a different type of design. It's all one building connected on top of one another, but we provided, like you did, this open space and back. But because the properties are kind of split up here, and I understand I'm in big favor with the parking, so I can see what happened with the open space, so it got pushed to the back. That's the reason why I'd like to have a landscape plan worked out with DPD, and then if the board could get just the final copy of that once that's agreed upon. I'm not asking for a lot of money to be spent, but I think it would blend in nicely back there.
Your son's in the business?
He is, yeah.
Okay. I mean, the reason we didn't do it, it's such a narrow lot, and I didn't, you know.
No, I understand,
we didn't
but,
provide that.
you know, I think a couple of the members made comments about the style of the structures that are going back there, so I just think it would look nice, even though it's tucked down and back, and I know that's kind of the,
Or you can come in with an informal plan to present to staff.
yeah,
and they can-
yeah, I'm not asking for thousands of dollars to be spent on this. I just think it's proper to just reflect some type of landscape plan back there. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so, Mr. Flood, I guess listening to each of the board members, their comments on the plan, I think it's great that we get the 6 parking spots. Obviously, it'd be nice if they were located somewhere else, but that's okay. I know there's existing homes in that street already have parking on the sides of the buildings, which obviously I think makes it pretty tight for that people to be accessing in and out, so I'm in full support of that. I would agree with you because of the size and shape of the lot, but I think that's pretty much true for that whole neighborhood, so there's nothing that I see here that's detrimental. Obviously, we're taking open space, putting a couple of properties in there. So we're talking about 3 rentals now, so we got 3 new potential families moving into the neighborhood. I don't think it overburdens the neighborhood. There's no opposition here this evening, so.
There wasn't a planning board either.
Yep. So based on, and I didn't see the planning board meeting. Generally, I do
Was it on TV?
take a look. Yep.
Was it on?
Oh,
School
beautiful. Maybe that's
committee
why I
was
never
here.
saw it. huh?
We were down the hall. School committee was here.
Oh, so the school committee takes precedence,
Takes
huh?
precedent, correct.
Yeah. There must have been something hot going on. Okay. Well, any board members, so Christine, as far as conditions, I had the landscape plan, and then a revision to the plans as submitted from July 12th, if we could,
Yeah,
You're-
as Dennis mentioned,
yeah, you
the
got
deck
those,
and the
you got those
stairs at the
captured,
back, yeah.
Ben?
Mr. Chairman?
Sure, yep.
I just have one further comment on the site plan. It seems to be a little ambiguous about the pavement between the driveway and the side of the existing structure. So there's a note on here that says proposed pavement. And then there's a similar line that indicates driveway edge that pulled away from the existing structure by maybe 5 or 8 feet. But I think the pavement goes right up to the existing structure right
I
now.
think it's existing. It's existing, yeah.
So is it the intent to leave the
I
existing
think it
pavement
is. I didn't, it is, yeah.
right up to the existing structure and not have a green space between the existing structure and the driveway?
I think it's his intent to leave it there.
So we will have pavement right up to the existing structure. We'll continue to have pavement right up to the existing structure.
Yes, the front piece, yes.
Okay. All right. Too bad. It seems like a miss because it would be nice to improve the landscaping on that site and to depict a driveway as we currently require for new construction. And since this driveway is basically accessing additional parking space and additional structure, to me, represents sort of a new
Well, he hadn't
driveway.
thought, maybe he'll think about it as he goes forward, but.
Right.
That was there, so.
Yeah, okay. I don't know if anyone else on the board.
Well,
Uh,
I know I said a couple of things, but that actually was going to be my next question. So as far as so what are we talking about for the pavement, Mr. Flood?
We're
I
gonna.
know there's existing pavement there. I can't say it's in the greatest shape, but I know it's there.
It's existing,
Yep,
and where's my new plan? We're gonna pave in between the two houses so that we can.
yep. So that'll be brand new.
Brand new,
correct?
yeah.
Yep.
But
Oh.
he hadn't planned on removing that by the house. We're gonna leave
Yeah.
it existing.
No, I'm not asking that. I wanted to ask about, so there's new pavements. So Christine, as far as that'll be handled through,
Engineering, you
yeah,
have to get
that's
a,
gonna be-
a driveway permit
right,
to engineer.
okay.
Yep.
Have you haven't met with them at all at this point, have you?
No.
Okay,
We're gonna do that till this is done.
yeah. So if they have any issues with the existing pavement,
We'll do
and I'm
whatever.
not talking about along the side of the home.
Yeah.
I think this board has battled that before in other neighborhoods, so I know that's not Dennis's intention, and neither is mine. I just want to get an answer to the question. New pavement in back here where the parking's going.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Okay, anybody else have any other conditions or comments? All right. So, could I have a motion, please?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, on the matters before us, make a motion to approve ZB-2017-27, petition and variance, the applicant, John Molinari, the property located at 28 Walker Street. The proposal is to construct 2 additional units on the subject property, bringing the total numbers of units to 3 with the appropriate parking. The proposed project is located in the traditional multifamily zoning district and requires special permit approval for use under section 12.1.c from the planning board and a variance approval from the zoning board under section 5.1 of the Lowell zoning ordinance with the following conditions: a deck and a porch added to the site plan, and also a landscape plan.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Roll call?
Chairman Bailey,
Approved with conditions.
Member Perrin,
Approve with conditions.
Member Peck,
Approve with conditions.
Member Palia?
Approved with conditions.
Member Callahan?
Approved with conditions.
Member McCarthy?
Approve with conditions.
Okay, Mr. Flood,
Thank you very much.
approved, thank you. Wish you the best of luck. You're welcome.
Good evening, everybody.
Hey. Okay, our next matter before us is ZB 2017-2029. The petition, say variance. The applicant is Michael Supranat. Property located at 25 Keene Street. And the petition, the proposal involves subdividing a lot and requires a special permit from the planning board under section 5.17 for frontage reduction and section 5.11 for lot width in the Lowell zoning ordinance, and variances under section 5.1 table of dimensional regulations from the zoning board of appeals for minimum lot size and minimum lot area per dwelling unit, and any other relief that is required of the Lowell zoning ordinance. Subject property is in the traditional two-family zoning district. Good evening, Mr. Theodoro.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. George Theodoro, 133 Market Street, representing the, excuse me, the petitioner. As you stated, this involves a lot of 10,147 square feet where we propose to subdivide the lot and create a new lot and build a new home on the new lot, which comprises 6,000 square feet. The new lot itself meets all the dimensional requirements. And to maintain the existing structure on Keene Street on a lot which comprises 4,147 square feet. We were before the planning board last Wednesday, and in front of the planning board, we requested special permits for to get a reduction of the frontage to 55 feet, as well as a special permit for lot width. This all applies to the house which sits on, the existing house which sits on the 4,147 square foot lot. At the planning board hearing, they had some comments with respect to the house lot, the proposed new house lot, and it was suggested at the hearing to move the house up 5 feet, still within the dimensional requirements, to move it closer to the street because it would conform much better to the houses on Keene Street and back Central Street, and at the same time to move the garage back 5 feet, which we complied with, and we provided a new plan which shows the changes to that site. And they also requested that we plant a shade tree at the driveway and plant a shade tree between the two homes. Now, they approved the special permits for each of those items for the existing structure. And now we are before before you tonight to request variances for the lot size per dwelling unit, which is now 6,000 square feet in this area. Now, in my submittal here, in my narrative that I provided to you, I went through the homes on Keene Street, up and down the street, and we went through them, and they're in there for your review, for you to go ahead and take notice as to the size of the lots that comprise Keene Street, primarily across the street, and the majority of these lots that comprise both two families and some are three families are below the 4,000 square foot lot that we're requesting the variance on. For example, 12 Keene Street across the street is a two-family, that's 2,500 square feet. 16 Keene Street is another two-family, that's 3,021 square feet. 20 Keene Street is a single family, that's 1,521 square feet. 22 Keene Street, 16 is a two-family, that's 1,695 square feet. And as we go through, even 28.1 Keene Street is a three-family, That's 2,384 square feet. Then we come to next door, 38 Keene Street, 2327 square feet. We come to our property, the proposed property that we propose to develop to maintain the existing house on the lot is 4,137 square feet. And so we are stating here in this hearing and before the board that the house, the existing structure that exists on the lot, it conforms to this neighborhood. The lot itself, as it exists, it cannot be changed with this plan here, and that it conforms with the other properties on the street. And by this board granting the variance, it does not derogate at all the intent of the ordinance. And at the same time, what we do is we have 2 single-family homes that are going to be owner-occupied, contributing to the tax base of the city. Also, if you take a look at the green space for each of those lots, it's substantially greater than the requirement for the green space in this neighborhood. So we would ask that the board act favorably on this. And just for a point of reference, only because it looks a little odd over there that you have this broken up pavement on the new lot, this property was once owned by the Catholic Church. And St. Anthony's Parish, which abuts it to the rear, they owned this and used it, and someone who worked for the St. Anthony's Parish lived in this home. And for approximately 20 years, it remained in this manner. And in asking some of the people who attend St. Anthony's Parish, they used it for parking, and that explains why it's the pavement, which hasn't been used in years. So it's our intent to develop that property, and we believe that it's an improvement for the neighborhood, and we ask that you act favorably on our application.
Just a quick question. The 25 Keene, the existing building, is there anybody living there right now?
No, there isn't. There's no one.
So both properties will be eventually sold as individual single families?
Exactly. They'll be owner-occupied, single-family residences.
Okay, great. All right. Anything else you'd like to add at this point?
No.
Great, thank you. Open it up to the public. Anyone here like to speak in favor of this petition? In favor? In favor? Hearing none, that portion of public hearing is closed. Anyone like to speak in opposition? 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 Hearing none, that portion of public hearing is closed. Open it up to the board. Sean.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Attorney Theodoro. My partner, Mr. Paglia, and I were discussing what the lot was previously used for just a couple minutes ago, and we were questioning whether it was being used as a private parking lot for the church. So it's in light of that, I mean, looking at the land, looks pretty dilapidated and hasn't been taken care of for a while. It'd be nice to see something go in there, at least a good amount of green space that, from what I can see from the plan, is being proposed along with the houses. So I really don't have any issues with the proposal as stated. The lot that's being proposed, Lot 1, is larger than many of the other lots in the area. What does conform with the neighborhood, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Mike?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, and I agree with Sean, and I agree with your statement of the case. Again, going through that neighborhood, this will be 2 homes that have off-street parking, which is somewhat rare in, the back central neighborhood, so that will be a plus. I also, in addition to what Sean said about the condition of the lot, and this is separate from approving the application, I would like to see if you can get word to the owner to clean up the lot even prior to, pulling building permits and actually starting construction. When I went out there the end of last week, there was, some broken pieces of furniture on the property. The weeds are about, in some places, 5 or 6 feet high. There's a couple of abandoned vehicles, and I don't know, are they on the petitioner's property, or is that the vacant lot next to the property?
I don't believe they're on the petitioner's property.
Okay.
There's an odd-shaped lot next to us, and I think they're on that lot.
Okay. maybe I'll just direct that to Christine then, if you could. Again, we're not an enforcement body, but it would just be nice even before, everything's ready to go, that the lot is cleaned up a little. I went in the back too, I went into the St. Anthony's parking lot, and the fence in the back there has fallen over, so do you know if that's this petitioner's fence or the church's fence?
Well, we don't know, I don't know whose fence it is, but it's, from years of misuse or back there that no one has maintained anything over there. But I'm sure once they're very aggressive to get moving here to clean up the site and get started to make their improvements.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to see that happen as quickly if possible. So it's good that you're even, again, raising the, I guess it's a garage in the back. That looks like it's about to close to collapse.
There's a cinder block structure back there that's falling apart.
Yeah, so, but no, I'm in favor of the application. I like the elevations for the new home, and the fact that you worked with the planning board to bring the home closer to the street, because I agree with them that it would more closely fit with the way the homes are laid out on that street now. So that's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Van?
No, I have no comments, Mr. Chairman.
Gary?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, just a couple comments. I do appreciate you working with the city to make those improvements on the setback, and I also look forward to that property coming back. It's a great size lot in a well-maintained part of the city. There's a lot of pride in that section of the city, and St. Anthony's Church for decades, that community always took good care of their community, so I'm sure they, as a group, are excited to see this project move forward. So I wish you the best of luck over there.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Dennis?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I just have a couple of questions, but I think that this is one of those lots that makes sense, especially where the existing structure is pulled so tight to one side, and we have all of this room now to accommodate basically a house that would meet the regulations for the neighborhood, with the advantage of this existing structure being pulled to one corner, not meeting the setbacks of the current zoning, but it's an existing structure, so I think it makes sense. But I just want to understand what kind of time frame we're looking at. Is there an intent to construct this house this year, or?
Yeah, they would love to get this going as soon as possible.
Partly the reason I ask, the plans that were submitted don't match what's on the site plan.
Well, the initial plans, they didn't mirror the site plan. They had to turn them around. I don't know if they have changed those plans. I thought they did.
So, yeah, for the record, my name's Matt Hammer with Lamplex Engineering at 10 George Street in Lowell. What happened at the very last minute during the design phase is we thought it would be better to mirror the building from the original elevation so that the driveways weren't side by side. So we just simply mirrored that elevation for that proposed lot.
Well, it sounds like if you intend to build this soon, that you'd be submitting plans for permit anyway, that I think it makes sense to have a condition that we provide plans for this application that are consistent with the site plan?
No, that makes perfect sense.
It does, okay, great. I just like things
No,
to
that makes
kind of
sense.
match.
As Matt said before, we didn't want to have one driveway sitting next to the other driveway. It didn't look right, so we'll have to move them around. But no, they intend to revise their plans to mirror this site plan.
Okay, great. And I think it's a nice layout. The house itself does seem to make sense. What are you talking about for materials on the house? Does anyone have that identified yet? Is this too early?
I think it's a little too early for me to tell you what they're going to use for it.
It looks like clapboard, but I was just wondering if it's hardy plank or if it's vinyl siding or what we were talking about, but that's all.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you right now.
All right, well, thank you very much. Actually, the existing structure is going to be maintained. The new driveway is going to be put in. Any other improvements to the existing structure? It looks like there's structure in the back, is there something being demolished on that existing structure, or is it pretty much as is?
Yeah, well, I think we're gonna take up some of the pavement along the side of the building. I know we're gonna do that to increase the green space, but I'm not sure if there's a structure that's coming down in the
Okay.
rear over there.
Okay, you know what, on the site plan, it looks like we have depicted a patio in the back maybe as structure?
It's depicted there as a partially framed concrete foundation back there and an unfinished addition, is as it's depicted on the site plan.
I have the builder here. I can ask the builder
Oh, please.
about the,
Yes.
Take it down.
yes, Mr. McCarthy, they're going to take that unfinished addition that's on the rear and remove that.
Okay, so I guess as a condition that we correct the site plan to depict
Sure.
that being removed, and that would be returned to green space then? Is that correct?
Yeah, or there could be a patio
Okay.
there, a form
Okay.
patio.
But not being
coming up the
depicted
back.
as building?
Yes.
Okay, great. That's all I had for comments. Thank you.
So, Dennis, was there two conditions, or is there just one?
Well, both the elevation building plans need to be corrected, so condition would be to correct the building plans to depict what's currently shown in the site plan, and then depict the site plan of the existing structure to depict that rear patio foundation to not reflect building footprint.
Okay. All right. I think this is a great project, Mr. Theodoro. This is, when I drove down Keene Street and took a look, as Gary mentioned about St. Anthony's, I know there's a lot of pride in that neighborhood, but just driving down, it's house, and then all of a sudden, you get this big open area, and it makes sense that it was a parking lot at one time, because I couldn't figure out why there was so much pavement there, but
Yeah.
I did the same thing as Mike did, drove him back the church, and that makes perfect sense. But I think this project is great. It's one of the better ones that I've seen come in here. And as you heard me chirp on the last petition, you're showing the green space here, you're showing some trees in front. Nice job. I think at the end of the day, once this is done, it's going to blend in very nice with the neighborhood. You keep them single families. I know there's a mix in that neighborhood, and obviously it's a two-family, but I think this is a great project, so kudos to you and your designer over here, and hopefully the builder does what you designed to do. But and obviously you're here because of you're meeting the requirements with the new lot number 2, but lot number 1 needs some relief based on current conditions for zoning. So I believe you've met that, and it would be obviously a burden to the petitioner if we were to enforce the current regulations. So we have 2 conditions. Did any other board members have any other conditions they wanted to add to Dennis's? So with that said, could I have a motion, please?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve ZB-2017-29, the petitioner variance, the applicant, Michael Supernaut, the property located at 25 Keene Street. The proposal involves subdividing a lot and requires a special permit from the planning board under section 5.1.7 for frontage reduction and section 5.1.0 for the lot within the Lowell zone ordinance, and a variance under section 5.1 table of dimensional regulations from the zoning board of appeals for minimum lot size and minimum lot area per dwelling unit, and any other relief that is required of the Lowell zoning ordinance. The subject property is an additional 2-family zoning district with the following conditions: to update the elevation plan to match the site plan, and to correct the site plan not to reflect a building footprint on the plan.
Okay, could I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Chairman Bailey?
Approved with conditions.
Member Perrin?
Approve with conditions.
Member Peck?
Approve conditions.
Member Palia?
Approved with conditions.
Member Callahan?
Approve with conditions.
Member McCarthy?
Approve with conditions.
Okay, Mr. Theodore, been approved. Wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, our next matter before us is ZB 2017-30, the petition special permit and variance. And the applicant is TBC Realty Dino Nadina, property located at 780 Rogers Street. And the petition, an application prepared by Robin Casey of Casey Signs for the installation and internal illumination of signage for NTB Tire and Service Centers at 780 Rogers Street. The applicant is seeking special permit approval and a variance under section 6.3 of the City of Lowell zoning ordinance and any other relief that is required. Good evening, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Chairman Bailey?
Doing all right, yes.
Sorry to interrupt. It came to my attention there's a mistake. They do not need to petition for a variance because the sign does front a street. So it would just be a special permit.
Okay. Well, that must be a relief to the petitioner. Yeah.
Well, yes, I was the one that discovered it.
Oh, okay. All right, what can you tell us about your petition, please?
Well, I'm Robin Casey from Casey Signs. We're the sign installer for NTB on 780 Rogers. Would like to give you some information. Actually, excuse me first. Would like to install 3 56.36 square feet NTB Tire and Service Center wall signs and 1 flex face freestanding sign. I would like to tell the board some benefits of this LED type of illumination. The LED lighting services the community needs because LEDs have a better quality of light distribution and focus light in one direction as opposed to other types of lighting which waste energy by emitting light in all directions, often illuminating areas where light isn't required. This means that less LED lights are needed to achieve the same level of brightness. Fewer lights will reduce energy consumption and will therefore be a benefit to the environment while minimizing lighting glare to abutting properties. Typical LED signs usually use around 10 watts of power, which is around 80% less energy than fluorescent lighting. This lower power requirement results in less strain on the environment, helps you adhere to stricter energy standards, and also, unlike fluorescent lights, LEDs don't have toxic gases and are cleanly recycled. LED lighting also makes for a better appearance, more impressive to customers. Neon or fluorescent signs can sometimes feel like a constant battle to keep the sign fully lit and with consistent brightness. Inevitably, it seems like one or more lights always needs replacing or are dimmer than the rest of the sign. This can cause a problem since a dim or half-lit sign sends a poor message about the business and the community. LEDs eliminate much of this problem because their long life and efficient technology keeps them illuminated far longer and more uniform than traditional lights. I believe that the proposed internally lit LED signage for NTB is also comparable and consistent to the existing character of the businesses surrounding its location. Too much information?
No comment. Okay. Well, thank you for that. And what we'll do is we'll open it up to the public first, and then we'll move to the board. Anyone here that'd like to speak in favor of this petition? In favor? In favor? Hearing none. That portion of public hearing is closed. Anyone like to speak in opposition? 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 Hearing none. That portion of public hearing is closed. I'd like to open it up to the board. Sean?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. All my years on the board, the first thing when these sign things come up, the first question that's always asked is LED lighting. So thank you very much for your presentation. That's the number one question that usually comes before many of the members of this board. So one of the questions I did have, though, do you happen to know what the hours of operation of the lighting
I
is gonna
did
be?
ask my employer. She said that do you want the hours that they're open or the hours that the sign's going to be on, right?
The hours that the anticipated hours of the signage.
Yeah,
Well, hours of operation, and then we usually determine from there.
Right, okay, the illumination, and this is per NTB, would be on at dusk and off at 2 a.m.
Okay.
The hours of operation are Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 8 p.m., Saturday, 7:30 to 7 p.m., and then Sunday, 9 to 6 p.m. That's per NTB.
I mean, normally, I think what we usually do is we usually try to put a condition of that the lights go off,
Right.
I think an hour, usually after close of operation.
Okay.
So that's
All right.
that's probably one of the conditions that we would be recommending. But otherwise, everything else seems to be, it's a great presentation, everything else seems to be in order, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Sean. Mike?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think it makes sense the way you want to lay out the additional signs in addition to the one facing the street, because for customers or potential customers coming down Route 38 from Tewksbury, they may drive by the store before they see the sign, I forget which number it is, on the right-hand side. And the same thing for folks coming the other way. So that, I guess, there's only one sign not facing a street, right? That would be the one on the right-hand side.
No, that actually is a street.
There is a street.
It's just
Groton.
sometimes it gets,
That's
I think,
like, that's
confused as the
dead-end
driveway
street.
to the.
Oh,
yes,
right, okay.
But it's 3 fronts,
Okay, so that's why we're withdrawing the
the variance
the
petition.
variance. Okay. And then I guess the pedestal sign as well, it seems to fit in. The signage in general, I think, fits in with that district. And I will just provide a comment a little different from Sean's about the hours of illumination, because I don't know, and I'll see what other board members say, but I think the McDonald's across the street may be open 24 hours. The Hannaford is open probably till 10 or 11 at night. So I don't know that we necessarily would need or want to stick to to have this store shut their lights off, just an hour after closing. Maybe set some sort of time. I don't know about 2 a.m. It seems like a stretch, but.
Yeah, I think it's stretch too.
But anyway, that's all I have right now, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Van?
No comments, Mr. Chairman.
Gary?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, just as it relates to the hours of illumination, said on average they're going to close at 10.
Yeah, Monday through Friday, it's 8 they close. And then Saturday, 7, and Sunday, 6. That's when they close.
So if we're looking for an hour, if we do grant that condition of an hour after closing, that really, you won't even be turning them on during
Right.
summer solstice.
Yeah.
So I'm not opposed to, extending that hour. As I agree with Michael, McDonald's is there. A couple other businesses. I can actually tell you what time all those lights go off if you like, because that happens to be fonder. But I would say midnight would be a fair compromise, as opposed to 2 a.m. I don't think anybody's shopping for tires at 2 a.m. Nothing good happens after midnight.
No. I agree.
I do think, in fairness to you and to NTB, 1 hour is not even going to give them any lighting visibility. So I would suggest a midnight time. No further comments. Thank you. Thank you for your LED definition.
Thank you. I didn't want to bore you guys.
No, it's valuable because I think it gives the public the understanding of what we speak about when we speak of LED lighting, and it's a nice educational piece. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Dennis?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I just have a couple of questions, but I just want to say that you're taking full advantage of the 3 streets that you're on.
Yes.
Boy, oh boy. Well done signage package, and very nice quality graphics. And I think that the pedestal sign at the street edge looks pretty outstanding. And the LED narrative is something that I wish we had sort of in the zoning bylaws or something, maybe, because it really does stand to state the case as to why it's important for us as a community to want to see the signage done that way.
I think it's important too, myself. I think it's very important myself, too.
Thank you very much. No further comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. So the one comment I'll make, so the city, in their write-up, you received a copy of that, correct?
Yes.
So the very, on the second page, very last section under the building department.
On the CMU?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any comments regarding what was written to
I've
us?
had U.S. Signs, or they're the builder of the signs, U.S. Signs, they've already had changed. So they've got what they were supposed to use for
Yep.
that type of, and they've already switched the drawing. So when I submit the permits, I will submit that with it.
Okay, just want to make sure you don't get caught at the end there. No, I think everyone is in agreement that this is a good petition. Agree with Dennis that the package was very well done. I agree with Gary's suggestion of midnight is probably fair and reasonable based on that particular stretch of the city as a gateway in, but I think with the mixture of businesses that are out there, 12 o'clock should be reasonable. So we'll put that as a condition.
Sure.
That's to be met. Beyond that, anybody else have any comments? So as far as the special permit, I believe you've met all the requirements, and that's why you're here this evening. So grab a motion, please.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, the matter before us, I make a motion to approve ZB-2017-30, the petition type special permit. The applicant is TBC Realty Dino Nadina, property located at 780 Rogers Street. The petition, an application prepared by Robin Casey of Casey Signs for the installation and internal illumination of signage for NTB Tire and Service Center at 7080 Rogers Street. The applicant is seeking special permit approval and a variance under section 6.3 of the City of Lowell zoning ordinance and any other relief that is required with the following condition, that illumination shuts down or closes at midnight at 12 a.m.
Okay, have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Chairman Bailey?
Approved with conditions.
Member Perrin?
Approve with condition.
Member Peck?
Approved conditions.
Member Palia?
Approved with condition.
Member Callahan?
Approve with conditions.
Member McCarthy?
Approve with condition.
Okay, been approved.
Thank you
Wish you
very
best of
much.
luck. Thank you very much.
Have a great night.
Yep,
Thank you.
same to you. Thank you. Jeez, I was just going to say, I thought you were here for the last one. I was going to say, it's too bad you brought all your stuff. You couldn't get up and talk. Okay. All right, well, this gentleman's setting up. Our last petition is ZB 2017-33. Petitions, a special permit and variance. The applicant is House of Hope, property located at 98 Smith Street. Petition, House of Hope is seeking an amendment to the previously granted special permit and variance at 98 Smith Street. The amendment requests to increase the total number of units from 17 to 18 residential units with the same number of parking spaces. The proposed project is located in the traditional multifamily zoning district and requires an amendment to the special permit and variances granted from the zoning board under section 4.5, section 5.1, and section 6.1 of the Lowell zoning ordinance. So first of all, I appreciate your patience. I know it's not fun to go last, but, so what would you like to tell us about your petition, please?
So, Mr. Bailey and members of the board, my name is Deb Chassé. I'm the Executive Director of House of Hope Housing here in Lowell. I am here with my associate, June Messina, from House of Hope, Jacob Taylor, our attorney from Klein Hornig, and Cliff Bulmer, our architect from Davis Square Architects. So we're requesting an amendment to a previously granted special permit. During our review of the project at 98 Smith Street, we discovered an opportunity to add another 2-bedroom apartment by reconfiguring a small section of the 3rd floor. By adding another apartment, House of Hope achieves 2 very important and positive outcomes. The first outcome is the creation of more affordable housing, thereby fulfilling our mission to end family homelessness, most importantly, providing an additional homeless family with a permanent, affordable home with support services. The second outcome is an increase in the property's overall income, which helps with the stability of the property and its tenants for the long-term future. Although we are not adding any additional parking spaces for this new unit, we believe that the amount of parking spaces in the current plan is more than sufficient, in that the number of spaces is larger than the number of units. In the 12 years that we have managed affordable housing, we have never had a situation where every household has owned a vehicle. And even if that were to happen, there would still be enough parking spaces to accommodate every household. So I would like to introduce Jacob Taylor from Klein Hornig, who will outline our specific requests.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. As Deb indicated, we're before the board this evening to request approval for changes to the previously approved project to allow the floor levels on the addition to match the floor levels of the existing building and to enable the addition of 1 additional unit and the reconfiguration of unit sizes to make them more appropriate to accommodate the families that House of Hope serves. We're requesting modification of the relief provided under 4.5.2 to allow 18 units rather than 17 units. So that's a change to the special permit that was previously approved. We're requesting a modification to the variance under 5.1 to allow lot area per dwelling unit of 2,052 square feet per unit. That's as opposed to the 2,173 square feet that was previously approved. We're requesting modification to the relief under 5.1 for usable open space per dwelling unit. Previously, the project was approved with 147 square feet. We're now looking at 138 square feet. And we're also requesting additional relief under 5.1 to allow for a building height of 38.5 feet. And the current building is approximately 34.5 feet. And the maximum height allowed in this district is 35 feet. And I should mention also that this is a graded lot. So the addition in the back being a few feet taller will not be visible from the street, as Cliff will explain further. In addition, we're requesting relief under 6.1 to allow the development of the project with 20 off-street parking spaces. That's the same number that was approved previously, but we are now looking at 1 additional unit. And if there are no further questions from me, I'd like to yield the floor to Cliff to run through some of the design considerations here.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Absolutely, sure.
Thank you very much for hearing us. Again, I know this project you're familiar with it already, so I'll hit on some of the high points. But I will point out we will be using LED lighting throughout the building. A couple things. I know I wasn't here at the previous presentation, but I know there was some discussion about view from the street because a very important piece of this is really maintaining the prominence of the historic building. It's a beautiful building. It's been well kept up. So you can see from these photographs of what the existing views are from the downhill side and the uphill side. And you can see particularly on the downhill side, you really don't even see, you just see a little skew
view of the addition in the back. These actually reflect the slightly taller building as well, but I think if you look at these, you'll see that we've really maintained the prominence of that house. I think a couple other things that have happened that I'll mention about some things that we've learned as we've developed the design is we are able to we have to put an infiltration system in the front yard, and we are able to keep that beautiful tree that is there, and we're actually adding another tree. So the site plan, I think, has improved a little bit, although that isn't strictly in your purview. I wanted to show you just a couple things to help you understand what Jacob was talking about. So I don't really need to talk much about the site plan, although we were able to get rid of, we had a ramp built on the outside of the building, which we don't need anymore, with more understanding of how the grades work. We're able to enter right at grade into the entry, which works very well for us and protects the accessible lift, puts it on the inside of the building rather than an outdoor ramp. But I'll go right to the elevation just so you can see the change that we made. Previously on the third. Oh, sure. Oh, I'm sorry. Previously on the third floor, the building ended at approximately here, something like 10 or 11 feet in from the third floor. The new plan is just pushing it out so we maintain the same footprint all the way up. So it's a very efficient way to us to add another apartment that helps kind of everything. It lowers the overall unit cost, per unit cost, but it also, as Deb pointed out, really helps on the operating side. And I just show you on the elevation where that is. So these are the two long elevations. What you saw previously was essentially there was a notch out there. So we filled in that top piece. And we were able to do that through just some more efficient planning of the building. It worked very well. We relocated the live-in unit, for a person who lives in their house permanently. We moved them up to the front, and by moving things around a little bit, we picked up some square footage, and it really gave us this opportunity that we didn't know existed before. I have all the drawings if you do have any other questions.
Any board members have any questions for this gentleman at this point? Nope. Okay. Is that pretty much it?
Yes.
Great. Okay. I'll just ask one quick question. So is this going to be the final additional unit you're going to be able to squeeze in there, or?
Yes.
Okay, great. That's a good yes. You got a good, strong voice. I like that. Yeah.
Well, we really appreciate you hearing us again, too.
Yeah.
But this really happened as part of design development to
Great.
realize this opportunity.
Yep. Well, thank you very much. So what we'll, yeah, go ahead. Sure, go ahead.
So when Cliff was able to move the resident manager's location to the front of the building, we were actually able to change it from a studio to a larger apartment, which we really believe means we're going to be able to get a more stable kind of resident manager living in there too, which makes us very happy.
Great. Thank you. All right, I'm going to open up the public meeting at this point. Anyone here like to speak in favor of this petition? In favor? In favor? Hearing none. That portion of public hearing is closed. Anyone like to speak in opposition? 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 Hearing none. That portion of public hearing is closed. Open it up to the board. Sean?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This certainly makes total sense, especially all the things that House of Hope does for people, to one additional unit to get one additional family that needs it is very good, and it makes total sense to me, and I wish you the best of luck and everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Mike?
Yeah, I agree with Sean. I mean, I know I was very excited or in favor of the project. I guess it's been a year already since the original application, I think.
It is,
so,
Beth.
but no, I thought it was a great project at the time, and I don't have any issues with the fact that you were able to reconfigure the addition and get another unit in there, and you know, as we discussed at the longer hearing last year, you explained the lack of concern about parking being an issue, and I think most members of the board probably agreed at that time that, based on your analysis of prior tenants, that 20 spaces would be more than enough. So I don't see adding this one extra unit to be an issue for the parking. So that's it, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Van?
I have no comment, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Gary?
Just a few comments. It's a great use of the space. Getting rid of that cutout gives a more conformed look of the building, and more importantly, as mentioned, it gives stability to your program and to the House of Hope by providing that residence for a permanent manager. So I think the project overall is a very good project. At this point, we're all aware you're fortunate that you're out of space, but I'm sure with the way the city works, there'll be other spaces, because the work that you do over there for the families of the city and what you do is tremendous, and I wish you the best of luck and continued success in your endeavors and what you do for the community, and we thank you very much.
Thank you, Gary. Dennis?
Through Mr. Chairman, I just want to echo some of Gary's comments. I really think that what House of Hope represents as far as giving families an opportunity is wonderful, and us as a community being able to help support that, I think, is the right thing to do for sure. I just have a couple of questions about the application, but I think that you've done a marvelous job of getting the maximum benefit from this this particular parcel and property. The height variance that you're going for, was that part of the original variance?
No. Well, yeah, so I can speak to that.
Yeah. The height of the addition has gone up slightly, so that's why we're here asking for the additional variance under, I believe it was 5.1.
Let me point that out, because I forgot to tell you what that's about. So when Jacob was talking about wanting to level the floors, in our initial plans for the building, we weren't really accommodating the fact that the historic house has a really big floor-to-floor height. And we wanted to have continuity of the corridor. We changed the design of the building so that we have two modern egress stairs. And before, we had an independent historic stair in the old house. So once we leveled it all the way across, it helps us in many ways, including handicapped access throughout. That's what happened, essentially. So it kind of stretched the building up some.
And so you were able to simplify the plan regarding the way stairs operate in the facility?
We were, yeah. That was how we picked up a little bit of square footage.
Picked up square footage that way?
Yeah. We had there's a non-conforming stair in the historic house. So we removed that stair and put in two new conforming egress stairs, front and back.
Wonderful. Can you speak a little bit to the way the units are going to be heated and cooled? Because I noticed on the roof plan, there's really no rooftop equipment up there.
Well, there actually is going to be. What we're looking at in all likelihood is probably individual heat pumps for the units. We do have a parapet, and I didn't mention that, but part of our plan is absolutely no observable mechanical equipment up on the roof because we have a parapet that hides it. So we're looking at heat pump systems that will provide both heating and air conditioning. So we will have condensing units located up on the roof.
Okay, but they're just the condensing units, that's fine. Yeah.
And I should point out, and I don't think this was mentioned before, but I think you may not be aware, but the project was fully funded by the state.
Wonderful.
Which is really good news. So we're finished going through funding rounds.
Congratulations. How is the roof accessed? There's no stair that goes all the way up?
No, we'll have just a hatch.
There'll be a hatch, okay. Yeah. At one of the stairs, I assume?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then how is the site lighting handled? Is there lighting on the building itself, or are there poles, or a combination of the two?
At the moment, we're looking at building-mounted lighting, but they will be shielded, dark sky LED fixtures that will light around the perimeter of the building. We won't have any lighting that will spill out onto other sites, and there'll be no uplighting at all.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much.
Okay. So the purpose of your visit this evening is, you've made a modification or a change to the past decision that was rendered by this board, and again, based on the comments by the board members, I don't think this change really is dramatic and is going to affect the previous decisions that we made. There's a special permit and a variance that we have to speak to, and the special permit would be around the dimensional requirements, the same that we had before, and the variance is kicked off because of the parking requirement. So by adding the one unit, I don't see how that impacts. I know your mission is, and we kind of talked about this, how many people will be driving cars, and I believe the change that's being presented is not out of scope, and it's minor in its effect. And I think the board members have asked enough questions, and I don't see where there's any major impact to the project. So with that said, so we'll need to take two separate votes, Christine, one for the special permit and the other for the variance. So I guess instead of rereading everything here, Van, if we just do the special permit first, and you can read the petition, and then we'll do the variance and just have it pertain to the previous discussion. Okay, thank you.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, the matter before us, I make a motion to approve ZB-2017-33, the petition and special permit, the applicant House of Hope, property located at 98 Smith Street. The petition, the House of Hope is seeking an amendment to the previous granted special permit and variance at 98 Smith Street. The amendment requests to increase the total number of units from 17 to 18 residential units with the same number of parking spaces. The proposed project is located in the traditional multifamily zoning district and requires an amendment to the special permit and variance granted from the zoning board under section 4.5, section 5.1, and section 6.1 of the Lowell zoning ordinance.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call. Approved.
Member Perrin?
Approved.
Member Peck?
Approve.
Member Palia?
Approved.
Member Callahan?
Approved.
Member McCarthy?
Approved.
Okay, and could I have a motion for the variance, please?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, the matter before us, make a motion to approve ZB-2017-33, the petition of variance, the applicant House of Hope, located at 98 Smith Street. The petition is the previously mentioned comments.
Okay, could I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Chairman Bailey?
Approved?
Member Perrin?
Approved.
Member Peck?
Approve.
Member Palia?
Approved.
Member Callahan?
Approved.
Member McCarthy?
Approve.
Okay, so you've been approved for both special permit and variance. Again, we wish you the best of luck and much success.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Welcome. Yep,
You're
you're
very
welcome.
welcome.
Thank you.
See you in a year or so.
Yeah, okay. Hopefully not back here. Sure.
Yeah, I'd be amazed if you got 19.
Okay, so we don't have any minutes for this evening, right, Christine?
Correct, we do not.
Anybody have anything they want to add? Okay, well, I do. This will be my last meeting as on the board. I've decided not to seek reappointment. So with that said, actually, August 4th is my last day on the job. And it was a pretty tough decision, but I've decided that I've served on this board for 10 years. I was on the Board of Health for 6.5. So after almost 17 years of public service, I've decided that I need to step back and enjoy a few other things. So I want to thank each one of you personally for friendship we've had on the board and working together. I appreciated everybody's support. And also there's the past members I've served with over the years. A lot of people bring different strengths to the board and backgrounds, and so it's been a great experience. And it's good working with friends like my friend out here. There's no crying. You know, with the neighborhood associations, it's always worked very well. I want to thank the staff, going back to George Proakis, Aaron Clausen, Joe Jenowitz, Judy Timon, our best friend Christine here, and then Patrick. And I know you got one other person you're going to try to bring in, so I wish you luck with that. Thank Eric Slagle. At times we've had to solicit his input. There's a law department, solicitors provided some support in the past for issues that we've had. I know we have had a few different petitions that we did a law department to weigh in on. The building department, Commissioner Shanahan, I think he's been before us a couple of times. City managers Cox, Lynch, and of course our president, city manager Murphy, giving me the opportunity to serve. And so it's been great working with you guys, and now I'll be able to watch it on TV and make some comments from home. But no, I'm going to miss everybody, and I'm going to miss coming here twice a month. But it's time for me to move on. So that's it. So now that you guys are all in shock and are speechless, you have a motion to adjourn.
Well,
Prior to your motion to adjourn, Mr. Chairman, I would like to take this opportunity to say, yes, we are, I can speak for myself, but it looks of my colleagues on this board, we are immediately shocked. And then secondarily, I think we are saddened as a board. Several of us, we've been together for a long time. But I do want to take both personal and professional privilege to thank you for your over 2 decades of public service to the city of Lowell. I want to thank your wife and your children for the countless hours dedicating to the city, weekends, nights, going through petitions, visiting sites. Not only did you serve this board, but you served the health department, which I believe helped our board as well, particularly over the last couple of years, dealing with some of the petitions related to some health department related issues. So it's the city's loss, it's Kathy's gain to have more time. I think you've served the city well professionally over 3 managers. I think they've all made wise choices in reappointing you year after year, term after term. I think we did the board and the city a well-deserved justice by unanimously selecting you as the chairman, and you led us both professionally throughout the course of time. So I want to personally and professionally thank you. I wish you all the best, both in your golf game as well as in spending time with your children and your grandchild. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, also want to use a point of personal privilege. Me being on the board the last 5 years, I've learned a lot from you, from your in-depth insight into all the petitions we had. Your leadership, I think, is very fair. It's very you're open and understanding to all the different sides and to the city, and you weigh all the options from residents and petitioners and everyone's best interest. I, like Mr. Perrin, very saddened by this news, but I completely understand. And, you've been a real role model for me personally, and I'm sure to the rest of the board. And, I also wish you the best of luck, Mr. Bailey. It's been a real pleasure working with you, so.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it.
To Mr. Chairman, just want to share my warmest thank yous for, I've been the shortest member on the board, but your leadership and guidance has been key to me to is growing and being a member on this board. So I wish you all the best, and thank you again for your service to the city. Appreciate it.
Mr. Chairman, I'll echo what's been said by everyone else. I appreciate your service to the city, and also I appreciate your sense of humor, but also your insistence on being a stickler for the rules of the board when others, perhaps myself, may have stepped out of line on occasion. And I also, this is my first time volunteering for a city board, and it's been a little over 3 years, but I remember after I had my orientation with the planning office, I thought, I would just show up for my first meeting, but you reached out to me to just to help me also get oriented, and I appreciated that. I didn't think that would happen, so thought I would just show up and have to, kind of figure out what I was supposed to do sitting here. So, and I think probably my first month on the board, I was out looking at a site after a snowstorm, and you happened to be out there at the same time, and so that's when I knew I had to do my work every 2 weeks before our public meeting, because I didn't want to get caught not out looking at the sites that were on the agenda every couple of weeks. So, but again, I appreciate it, your service to the city, and personally your assistance to me.
I too want to echo the members of the board's comments, but Mr. Chairman, you really have shocked me for sure. I didn't see this coming. I knew the day probably would happen somewhere, but this is the first board that I've served on, and the generosity and kindness that you've shown the members of the board, but the members of Lowell and the petitioners, has been amazing for me to watch over the years. And I've just been blown away each time I come here with how much patience you have with people that are presenting to help people understand what they need to do so that they can tell their story correctly and get their needs across. And just the fairness and level-headedness that you provided has been astounding, and sorely, sorely missed. My goodness. Thank you very much for all you've taught us.
Well, appreciate everybody's comments, and so with that said, could I have a motion to adjourn?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to adjourn.
Have a second?
Second.
So moved.